The Snow Queen by Jimmy Widegren. A girl named Baara stood at the edge of the dark, snowy forest. She shivered as snowflakes settled on her hair and coat. She couldn't see beyond the trees, but something called to her from the depths of the woods. She turned and faced the forest. The snow continued to fall as she gazed into the abyss. She had to know what was calling her. She closed her eyes and felt a dreamy sense of calm. In her mind's eye, she saw a galaxy of stars swirling in the night sky. She knew she had to follow the stars to find her destiny. She stepped into the forest, and the world turned blue. The snow continued to fall, but now it was illuminated by a soft blue light. She felt that she was getting closer to her goal. Suddenly, lightning illuminated the forest. In the corner of her vision, she saw a silhouette of a woman. She couldn't make out any features, but something about the woman filled her with dread. She began to run, her heart pounding in her chest. As she looked back, she saw the woman, chasing her with inhuman speed. She could feel the woman's breath on her neck, and she knew she had to keep on running. The snow was getting heavier, and the forest was becoming harder to navigate. She looked back over her shoulder and saw the woman. The woman had long, dark hair, and her eyes glowed with a cold, blue light. The girl knew that this was the Snow Queen, and that she had to stop her before she put her final ice spell on the world. The girl ran through the forest, the rain mixing with the snow to form an icy slush underfoot. She could hear the Snow Queen's laughter echoing through the trees. Ha ha ha. She paused for a moment to catch her breath. This was her destiny, and she had to see it through to the end. As she opened her hand, a shining orb appeared. She could feel the power coursing through her veins, and she knew that this was the key to defeating the Snow Queen. Suddenly, a tall man wearing a robe appeared. He had his arms raised to the sky, and his voice echoed through the forest. "You are the chosen one, and it is up to you to save the world from the Snow Queen's grasp." With a sense of curiosity and wonder, the girl began to walk towards the man. As she got closer, she could see that the blue light was coming from his flowing robe. She felt something pulling her closer to him. She wanted to run, to escape this place and all the darkness it held. But something inside her wouldn't let her leave. "Let me go," she screamed. The man turned to her and smiled, his eyes twinkling with warmth and kindness. He beckoned her closer, and the girl felt a surge of energy course through her body. "You have the power orb, that's your key," he said. She reached out to touch the man's hand, and as she did, she felt a surge of power that she had never experienced before. The light intensified, and the girl felt as though she was being transported to another world. She came to a lush fantasy forest. The sun was rising, and the trees were bathed in a beautiful light. The scent of the blooming roses surrounded her, and she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the beauty of the world. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She could feel the power of the forest flowing through her, and she knew that this was where she was meant to be. When she opened her eyes, she found herself standing in a clearing, with long grass swaying in the gentle breeze. In the distance, she could see a figure with just one eye, their hair entwined with the tree roots. "This must be a sign that I am on the right path," she thought. Suddenly, she was surrounded by a purple particle cloud. The air around her crackled with energy. Roses appeared in her hair, and she knew that this was a symbol of her power. "The power orb is stronger than I imagined," she thought. She looked down at herself, surprised to see that she was now wearing a flowing dress made of leaves and petals. Her hair was adorned with roses, and her skin glowed with a soft pink light. She ran through the forest, the snow turning pink and purple. Big drops of white light fell. She could see colorful bursts of light exploding around her. The pink and purple hues illuminated the snowflakes falling from the sky, making it feel like she was running through a magical dream. As Baara ran, she realized that the drops of white light were actually snowflakes infused with her magic. The power orb had given her control over the elements, and she knew that she could use this power to defeat the Snow Queen. In the distance, she could see the Snow Queen's castle looming over the trees. The castle was made entirely of ice, with spires that reached up to the sky. Baara knew that this was where the Snow Queen kept her powers. She approached the castle, her heart pounding in her chest. The snow was falling heavier now, and the wind was howling through the trees. She knew that this was going to be a tough battle. As she entered the castle, she could feel the Snow Queen's presence all around her. The air was icy cold, and the corridors were lined with frozen statues. Baara could see the Snow Queen standing at the end of the corridor. Baara raised her hand, and a wave of pink energy shot towards the Snow Queen. The Snow Queen raised her hand and blocked the attack with a wall of ice. "You think you can defeat me with that little trick?" the Snow Queen sneered. Baara focused her energy, and a beam of pure pink light shot towards the Snow Queen. The Snow Queen raised her arms to block the attack, but the beam shattered her icy armor, leaving her vulnerable. Baara walked towards the Snow Queen, her eyes filled with determination. She knew that this was her moment, and she had to make it count. With a swift motion, she raised her hand and aimed the power orb towards the Snow Queen's chest. A beam of pure white light shot towards the Snow Queen, engulfing her in a blinding white light. As the light faded, Baara could see the Snow Queen lying on the ground, defeated. The castle began to crumble around them. "It's time for me to leave," she said. She ran towards the exit. Finally, Baara burst out of the castle and into the sunlight. The snow was gone, and the trees were filled with blooming flowers. She felt a sense of elation as she ran out into the open, feeling the wind in her hair and the sun on her face. She laughed and spun around, taking in the beauty of the world around her. She saw a breathtaking sight. Behind her was the dark and dangerous castle, but in front of her now was a beautiful field filled with roses of every color imaginable. As she walked barefoot through the field, she could feel the soft grass tickling her feet. The sun was shining down on her, warming her skin, and she felt a sense of freedom and joy that she hadn't felt in a long time. Baara knew that she had saved the world from the Snow Queen's grasp. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, feeling grateful for the beauty of the world and the power that lay within her. Then she ran out into the field and kept on running.